Hey everybody, Bob Chick along with David Bay. We are moments off of the stage here in Toronto. Of course, we just crowned a winner, David. We'll get into that in a minute. But we had a whole bunch of classes here tonight representing. We started things off with the women bodybuilders.
Yeah, and the women bodybuilders, not a big lineup, but they did not disappoint when it comes to conditioning. You know, we talk every show about wanting the guys to show up in shape, and we're waiting for, you know, the guys to really nail it. And it seems like every show, these women come out and school these dudes, and it was no different. Our top three girls, your winner, Laura Carolyn, and then Nancy Clark and Kathy LeFrancois, all shredded. Kathy was about, I think, as lean as a human being can possibly get. I mean, we're talking, we're talking Eduardo Correa, Andreas Munzer type stuff. It was ridiculous. So kudos to the women, great job. And again, Laura Carolyn from Manitoba, Canada, getting the win, and the not the Olympia, but rather the Rising Phoenix World Championships. That being put on a little bit later in the year, August, I believe, this year. That one's going to be in Phoenix. Right. Moving on to fitness, Ariel Kadar.
Excellent.
It's only her second pro show. She did Phoenix Europa last year, didn't quite place how she wanted to. Came out really lean here. She's got a really strong gymnastics background and a martial arts background. Put that all together for a really cool Mortal Kombat routine. That was cool. She nailed the physique round as well, so a good win for her. At only, I think she's only 22, 23
She's a tiny little, she's that tall.
4'11".
So she can't ride the bumper cars, but she'll be at the Olympia.
She'll be at the Olympia. Bikini, this one, a lot of guys in the forums, how do you judge bikini? It's not very easy, it's whatever. Jennifer Ronziti came out, said, while they're doing their individual...
You ordered the Ronziti the other night at the restaurant, didn't you? The marinara sauce.
That's a terrible joke. The thing, right. She came out and we called it right away. That's your bikini winner. I mean, so for you guys who think bikini is this arbitrary judging where nobody knows what they're looking for, literally they did the one-by-one individual presentations. Before they even got into comparisons, she was your clear winner, and that's how it panned out. I think it was one of her, I don't know if it was her first pro show, but she's relatively new to the scene, so congrats for her. Also headed to the Olympia.
Yes, and Dana Maletin, the defending champ here in Toronto, only mustered a third place finish. I actually thought she looked very good, though. Probably one of the best looks, at least equal to last year. I hope she does a show next week or the week after, because she had a great look there. But again, a very good lineup here, so nothing to be taken away from that. But we'll see her probably in the next week or two. I'm going to predict an early win right there.
Yeah, she looked fantastic again. Nothing against her. Just, every year you're going to run into different people, different shows, different lineups. Moving forward to figure, Swan De La Rosa, an early favorite coming into the show. No real surprises here. Not a lot of real big names in the figure division, but we've talked about that before, and it's cool in that it's a chance for people to kind of get out there, make a name for themselves, not get lost in the shuffle. And I'm only going to bring up one other girl other than Swan, because it's rare that you see like a figure girl that just really pops. I remember the first time I saw Latoya Watts in Tampa. It was like, wow. This Melissa Bumstead from Ontario, Canada.
Rookie is her first pro show.
Pro debut. Now, she might be a little bit big and a little bit lean for figure, but from a physique standpoint, absolutely fantastic. Her quads, delts, back, everything. And it was funny because when I saw her on stage, it's like, she's a real muscular girl. She looks huge. I saw her out in the lobby a little bit ago, stood next to me. I'm like, she just doesn't look that way at all. But that's the power of the lights and the stage and all that kind of stuff. You think these chicks are huge, and they come off and they're literally 5'3", 5'4". The big ones are 5'7", Yeah, so, I don't know which direction she's going to head in. I had talked with her a little bit. She kind of asked for our feedback. I said in a different lineup with girls who were a little bit bigger, we always talk about the judges have to compare them against who they're up against. And I think, generally speaking, the figure lineup today was a little bit smaller, a little bit softer look. Maybe had she gone up against some of your more muscular girls, your Jen Strobels, your Kamala Rodriguez, your Candace Keens, she might have fit a little bit better in that lineup. But, I don't know if this is a case where she's going to move up to women's physique or maybe tone it down for figure. But whichever direction this Melissa Bumstead decides to go in, I think she's definitely one to keep an eye out for us. Pro debut to look the way she did, absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, she can go either way, honestly. She's kind of right in that middle. But given who won the last show, it might not be a bad time to start grading on the curve there. And, we'll take her in physique, man. I love it.
Absolutely. And bodybuilding. 212 men's open.
The 212, boy, it was the house that Zane built here, but we're not talking about Frank Zane, of course. We're talking about Zane Watson. Boy, this place was lit up. He had to have 200 people out in the audience. The Zane train was alive and running, brother. All the Zaniacs out there going crazy, David.
Yeah, it's, we obviously cover a ton of these pro shows. And this is about as loud as you're going to get at a show that's not the Arnold or Olympia for a competitor. They absolutely go nuts for him here. You know, not a lot of shows up here in Canada, so the fans turn out big time. You know, they go nuts for
cool.
for the hometown boys. It is really cool. I mean, they're chanting, pounding on the floor and stuff. But you know, Zane looked really good. Good conditioning.
Now, he was a defending champ from last year, right on this very stage.
Yeah, and he won last year. And one of the things we talked about last year was he was so impressive last year, size, conditioning. You wondered how he got down to 212, and there was a lot of talk like, hey, he probably could have flopped over into the open and done well in the open as well. That wasn't really the case this year. To me, he looked like he was, I was guessing 10 to 15 pounds of muscle down. Now, I did talk to some of the judges and the people that were handling check-ins. They said he weighed in 5 pounds less than he was last year. And he wasn't as lean, and he wasn't as lean as he was last year. He probably would have had to lose about another 5 pounds to get to the same conditioning. So I would say it's pretty fair to say that Zane was down about 10 pounds of muscle. And when you're talking about the 212 division, 10 pounds of muscle is a lot.
That's a lot.
And it definitely showed.
Well, his legs were ripped up. I mean,
absolutely.
From behind, from the front, from any angle you can get. But in order to achieve that, he definitely sacrificed some upper body. And I think that was the difference because Alejandro Cambronero, Alex, he was great, man. I tell you what, he won last week in Puerto Rico. Looked phenomenal. He looked just as good here tonight, and it took every ounce of that to get that victory. So he was already qualified for the Olympia anyway, double qualifier now, but he's really looking forward to taking just a few weeks off and then starting that assault on the Olympia stage again.
Yeah, you know, we saw him in Tampa make his pro debut a few years ago. I think it was about 2 years ago, and we were kind of saying this is a guy to look out for. Didn't place real well at that show because he needed a little bit more size and a little bit better conditioning. Those are two things that he's definitely worked on over the last couple of years. Now he's got his 3rd pro win, obviously in San Antonio last year, Puerto Rico a week ago, and now here. And he's a guy where he's going to have to probably, you know, he's going to have to get a little bit bigger to roll with your Jose's, your Flex Lewis's, and come in a little bit tighter. But structurally and as far as, you know, aesthetics and everything, he can roll with the best guys in this 212 division. He's just one of those guys that he's got such a pretty physique. Everything just flows so well that if he could just get a little bit bigger and keep those same lines, he'd be, you know, he'd be a real threat to, you know, the top guys in this division.
Well, had some good guys here. Zane Watson, we've already talked about. Kim Jung-ho, 3rd place here. I tell you what, might have been the best version of him I've seen yet. He was a little bit sharper than the last time we saw him. He's that close, man. I mean, I'd like to see him compete in another show. He wants to get to the Olympia this year, but he lives in Korea, and he says every time that, you know, he hits a show, he's literally going, you know, one side back to the other. So it's a lot. You know, it's expensive, obviously. It's a lot to travel like that and try to come in any kind of condition. But he looked fantastic, and Mark Dugdale ended up in 4th place. So Mark's still bringing it, very competitive in that lineup, but great 212 here.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good 212 lineup. A lot of guys, too. You know, there was a handful of good guys, Ahmad.
The name's so nice, they named him twice.
Right. Raul Carrasco, guys who at other shows we've seen in the top 3, top 5 that, you know, that weren't really front runners here, and that just speaks volumes to the depth. Crowd favorite John Meadows was here. Kind of the same for John, a really good look for him, gnarly conditioning, super vascular, just not put together quite like some of the top guys. So, you know, John's one of those guys where, you know, he's busting his ass and he's got a big fan base for it. And
he represented.
He showed that he's consistently consistent, and you know, and congrats to John. You know, not the placing that he wanted, but definitely showed that he's busting his ass out there day in and day out. So.
All right, on to the Open, my friend. The Open men's category. They were last off the stage, of course. Nathan Diasha finally getting that win. He's been that close. And he's been on the competition trail for the last few months, so he was literally hanging by a thread, you know, physically, mentally, and all that. But he looked great. I didn't think he lost anything from last week, where he lost to 1 point to Steve Kuklo. Very good battle there. That literally could have gone either way. But he got that win here tonight, but he was getting pushed.
Yeah, it was a really good show here tonight. It looked like earlier on in prejudging, it was Fouad and Max for pushing him. Fouad looked good from the front. When he turned around, definitely not as sharp as we've seen Fouad before, especially in his hamstring, his backside. You know, so it kind of came down to a Nathan and Max competition. From your front and your side shots, I think it was really close. In fact, in your front, a frontable bicep and a most muscular, I'm taking Max. Your side shots are close. As everybody knows, Max has a little bit of a hard time hitting some of his back shots. He has a hard time flipping open his rear double bicep. He's got a hard time hitting his back lat spread, and that hurts him because Nathan's back shots are good. Nathan could probably use a little bit more mass in his rear double bicep, but his hamstrings, his glutes, everything's tight. Very polished look. So it was a really good win for Nathan. One of the interesting things that I wanted to talk about was, there was so much controversy, and a lot of guys were upset about Steve beating Nathan last week.
I didn't think there was any controversy. It was about as close as it could get. I mean, literally, it could have gone either way. It was that close between those two guys. But I can beat you to the punch on that one right now. The reason that Steve Kuplo wins that, all right, was width. And when he turned it aside, his leg is literally almost twice the width of Nathan's. Nothing against Nathan, but Steve's a big boy. And obviously in the back shots, the back lat spread, and especially in the lat spread, you can noticeably see the difference in thickness. And from the side, listen, there's a reason that they do quarter turns in bodybuilding, and that thickness does come in and beyond there. He'll be my immediate. I can tell you right now, he's going to be my dark horse pick to beat a few guys that people ain't going to be counting on. Ben Pekulski back on the stage. We saw the Pac-Man. Haven't seen him in a while. I think he had a very good appearance, for being off the stage for quite some time now. And John De La Rosa, gotten a little bit sharper every week. Still not there. I know him and Swan. His better looking half, of course, winning the figure. So they got one win in the family here today, but they're just like the nicest people in the world.
Yeah, they are.
And winning, losing, anything in between. I've never seen anybody that's just got a smile on his face more than John De La Rosa. Maybe Victor. Victor's always in a good mood. But
Victor's too laid back to eat anything but a good mood.
If Victor was any more laid back, he'd be sleeping. But great competition here, David. That's going to wrap things up here, with the exception of, my friend, early predictions, of course, which, I'm not letting you off the hook, man.
It's not done yet. That's
tomorrow.
That's coming tomorrow.
Listen, it's coming tomorrow, but we saw the prejudging today. Bro, you started from the bottom, and you're still at the bottom, okay? So
are we going to give these guys a reminder?
I'm going to be winning this one.
Preview video?
Listen, this is so easy, all right? Easy victory.
For you guys who don't know, let them. Okay, so for you guys who didn't watch the preview video, we were picking winners for Classic Physique. I said Santiago Aragon. Bob said Darren Charles. We made a friendly bet. If I win, Bob has to wear a T-shirt and a backwards hat. If he wins, I have to show up at my next show with some sort of sparkly,
at least an imitation. Maybe a sparkly tie or something.
Yeah, and it looks like
look presentable for God's sakes for once.
Looks like Darren's gonna win. I don't know. Maybe Junior Nationals. I'll rock some sort of Bob Ciccarillo outfit.
That would be cool. But I won't be there actually, so you can actually go in my place. I'll be in the Dallas Europa. But listen, we'll see the finals on that one tomorrow. Expo stage all day tomorrow, folks. We still got a whole lot more coming. We got women's physique, men's physique, classic physique, and wheelchair bodybuilders. All taking the stage. That's all the finals tomorrow over at the Expo. And of course, Kai Green making a special appearance on stage with the boys from Third Motion. For those that saw that last year, they were the three little kids that Kai got out there and had the battle of the dance going on.
It'll be a good time.
It's going to be a good time. So that's going to wrap things up here. We will check back tomorrow from the Expo. For David Bay, I'm Bob Chick. We're out.